Hey, everybody. It's a thing. This is an interesting idea that was given to me. Literally, I was prepared to record another These Are the CDs that I got from Goodwill. And my brother in law texted me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, what's your top five chill out albums?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to chase this rabbit all the way down the hole." So I really, really started thinking about it, and this is what I came up with. This was really fun to put together, so feel free to ask me this kind of stuff anytime you want, I guess. Anyway, here's some rules. I always have to give myself ground rules, otherwise, I will feel bad for excluding things, even though I know I should exclude them on grounds like this. But I always feel like I have to explain myself, otherwise, people are going to be like, "Why didn't you include such and such? Because it's my favorite." And I think the real thing we all have to remember is that this is one man's opinion, and I have been known to be wrong from time to time. So just incorporate that into your worldview however you will. Anyway, rule number one, no greatest hits compilations. We have to pit album against album. You can't go the selected best bits of anyone's discography against another band or artist's regular work. Like, that's just not fair. So if we ever do a different way, if we ever are like, oh, best greatest hits, like, which I totally should do, because I do have some opinions on some great greatest hits compilations. Anyway, but yeah, so no greatest hits. It's just not fair. It's the corked bat of, top five lists. Okay. When I think of number two, when I think of chill out music, it has to be something that I can actually chill out to, meaning turn my brain off and not have to like really think too hard about it. Which is not to say that the music isn't engaging or interesting, or like it wouldn't make the list if there wasn't something about it that was engaging. But what needs to be engaging about a chill out album is that the mood that it implants in you is like, hey, just relax. Like, I got this. There aren't going to be any speed bumps. There are not going to be any sudden movements or jolts or whatever. Like, you can just sit back and not worry, and not have to think too hard about what's happening. And so things that are too engaging, the examples I gave, A Tribe Called Quest, I always want to sing along with it. Singing along is not engaged. Because, when Bonita Applebum, she got it going on. Like, yeah, she does got it going on. But I can't chill out to that the same way that I can chill out to the other things on this list. Jay Dilla, even though it's instrumental, is still like, he's such a superb sampler and brings in such diverse material in such interesting ways that like I can't not think about what he's doing when I'm listening to him. So no donuts on the list. I'm sorry, it's too much for my brain. I have to think about it. I can't just chill out. Sorry. I know you love Jay Dilla. We all do. Anyway, no chill remix albums that are like, it's a chilled out Verve remixes, it's a chilled out Motown, or even video game music. I do have the Zelda and chill, the Minecraft and chill. Those are excellent. I enjoy them, but like, also consider what they are and how they are made. What you're really reacting to is the chilled out remix of pre-existing music, which I feel is more like a cover song type of approach, or like, it's not entirely original, and that's what makes it engaging. And because of that, I feel like it's a different category. So yeah, we're putting that in a different category. Okay, no lounge albums. That just has to be what it is. Lounge is an interesting style of music. I think Richard Cheese is hilarious. Like, I do enjoy some lounge type musics. It's just, I'm sorry. I feel like it's its own thing too much, and it's one of those things where, like, its entire vibe is taking other things and chilling them out. So, yeah, the same reason I don't take chill remixes should apply to lounge as well. Shouldn't have to explain that too much. Now, when I flip this over, we're going to see my honorable mentions because I had too many. Absolutely too many. Yeah. Lord Newborn and the Magic Skulls, self-titled. This is a super group of chilled out awesomeness, which includes Tommy Guerrero, who has another album on this list, and he's amazing. It also has Money Mark, who worked with Beastie Boys, and also makes some really good, pretty chill music of his own. And I forget who all else is in it, but it's just really good and super chill. But unfortunately got bumped by some things I thought were better. Well, and also the other thing is that, like, I'm only just recently into Lord Newborn and the Magic Skulls, so I feel a little disingenuous if I hype it up too much, despite not having as many listens into it as I would like to be able to recommend it fully. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Hashfinger is a UK-based chilled out hip-hop musician, and it is all instrumental, and so yeah, it's really, really laid back, really good stuff, and it reminds me of the music on the chilled out songs to relax and study to, which, if you don't know about that YouTube channel, check it out. It's amazing. Whatever they're playing right now is like this and awesome. I like it. Anyway, Goose. I'm big into Goose right now, which is a little embarrassing because I'm such a stereotypical, like, 40-something-year-old dad, just being like, yeah, man, I started making my own tie-dye and then started listening to Goose, pulling out my old Fish cassettes and whatnot. Like, for real. Come on, man. But yeah, no, they're really good. And honestly, this show, which I think is the first one they played with Trey Anastasio, it felt like a passing of the torch. And some of their stuff is so chill. Like, some of their stuff is, like, really upbeat and stuff. But because it's jam bands, I feel like that's kind of fits that bill of being able to, fade in and out with it. You don't have to, like, really study it. I mean, there are people who do, and I don't know, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't, like, listen to a show and study it like a textbook. But some people do, and that's where they get their musical joy, and I do not think any the less of them. As a matter of fact, I think it's pretty cool, but it's just not how I interact with the music. I get very chilled out to it, even though it is, like, there's a lot of interesting things going on. Finally, Tommy Guerrero. Sorry, Tommy Guerrero, neither of your albums cracked the top 5. But yeah, I love Tommy Guerrero. I think he's an incredible person. Professional skateboarder, legendary professional skateboarder, one of the greatest. And the fact that he makes some of the best chilled out music that you will ever hear. Literally, listen to any Tommy Guerrero album. They're all fantastic. I recommend every single one of them. And there are a bunch of them. So yeah, you literally cannot go wrong with Tommy Guerrero. But Road to Nowhere, I love the way this one opens. I do have some nostalgic memories connected to it. So yeah, that's why it's getting the honorable mention. I also realized when I put this together that I don't have, like, spiritualized ladies and gentlemen, we are floating in space. Sorry. I can't put everything on the list. Just thinking of omissions as I get into this. Anyway, let's get going because it's honorable mentions barely over and we're 10 minutes in. Here we go. Number 5, The Sound Defects, Iron Horse. This sounds like a really good movie soundtrack. Like really good though. Like really cool, like a Tarantino kind of soundtrack. But like the chill parts of a Tarantino soundtrack. You can picture somebody like getting revenge to this music, but like in a really cool Italian sort of way. Like spaghetti western kind of a like, yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's got that kind of a like Italian film, grainy sort of a like, it's amazing. You cannot get this. Like, so few copies are out there, and they command like $50 for the vinyl, and which is a lot for me. I don't know if it is for you, but that's a lot for me. And like $300 for the CD. What? I don't know why the CD's more expensive than the vinyl, but still, like, that's crazy. I love this album, but I wish I could own it in more than just, digital copy. Anyway, Air, Moon Safari. This came out in the 90s when some amazing things were happening in electronic music. And man, I swear to God, all the time people will be like, hey, do you hear this cool thing that's happening in electronic music right now? And I'll be like, yeah, this reminds me of the 90s when we invented this, like, because that's what it felt like to be listening to electronic music in the 90s. It was a very exciting time. Used to go down to listening posts at the Virgin Megastore in Arizona Mills Mall and just like enjoy the stuff, listening like, ooh, what's the difference between the orb and orbital? Let's find out. And if you don't know the answer to that question, sorry, like, one of them is definitely better than the other. I'll tell you that much. You figure it out. If you don't know, like, if you know, you're like, yes, I know exactly what he's talking about. If you don't know, then go find out. Have a good time, because that is a fun little rabbit hole to fall down. 90s electronica. Anyway, this is a key slice of 90s electronica that meshes up like, synthesized sound with analog, real instrument type sound, and then also like vintage organs and stuff over the top of like really cool beats and whatnot. Like, it's really cool and very chilled out. And Air has a ton of really good albums. I don't have any Massive Attack on the list. I guess not everything Massive Attack does is super chill, but like some of their stuff is very chill. Anyway, but yeah, sorry. I was just thinking of all the things I didn't put on there, but Air, Moon Safari, it's a personal fave. It's number 4. Number 3, Sigur Rós. I got this one because all my friends got it and they couldn't stop talking about how amazing it was. This was when I was in college, and then I bought it and I came home the day I bought it. Like, I came home really late and I had a CD alarm clock, or a boombox with an alarm clock on it. And I put it into the CD tray and I said, I'll let this wake me up. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but I just wanted to find out. And man, it was so amazing. Like, it just made me so happy and positive, and it's so good. It makes you feel like you've meditated, is how this music makes you feel. Very, like, it gives you feelings of clarity that you often search for in life. Yeah, it takes you places and is amazing. And yeah, right here I'd like to point out that the farther up the ladder we get, the farther away we get from classic song structures and the fewer lyrics we have on the entire album. So, just good things to know. Anyway, this one has a very pretentious sounding title, but it's so good. Godspeed You Black Emperor, Lift Your Skinny Fist Like Antennas to Heaven. This came out like, man, there was some pretentious naming going on in the like early to mid 2000s, and the indie rock scene was just full of like, there was some real pretense going on, and some of it I really hated. Like, I was so mad at Sufjan Stevens for the longest time. Don't ask. There's really not a good reason. I was angry with Connor Oberst. I can't even explain why. I'm totally fine with him now. But, like, I was just mad. I don't know. It was a weird time to be buying music and to be, like, trying to figure out where indie rock was going. But yeah, anyway, this one is just, it's like if Brian Eno were more symphonic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of what it is. It's really cool. It goes places. It is an album that, like, you'll put on and you'll be like, okay, whatever. And then the first 3 tracks are like 20 minutes apiece. And so you're like, oh, what am I listening to, a Fish show? What is this? But then you'll kind of forget about it. And then it'll sneak up on you and like take you from behind like an assassin and just be like, you're enjoying this, aren't you? And you'll be like, oh my God, I am enjoying the hell out of this. And I feel good and happy and positive and like chill. I feel relaxed. My stresses are melting away. What is happening? Like, it's a beautiful thing, and I love it. I love it so much. And the fact that it's a pretentious title and, like, the cover, which is exactly what it looks like. You're like, is it all grainy like recycled paper? Yeah, it is. There you go. Enjoy it. Good times. But my number one, and this is like, before I get to number one, just know that like a YouTube comment on this blew my mind and like changed the way that I enjoy this. And this is gonna sound ridiculous right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you, but like, here's my all-time number one chill out album. It is Brian Eno's Neroli, the double disc edition with new space music. Now, you know that Brian Eno did the soundtrack for the NASA released a documentary of the Apollo missions, and Brian Eno did the music for it, and it's amazing. Like, the music is incredible, and he released it as a soundtrack, and it's called Apollo Atmospheres, and I don't know, something else that starts with an A, probably. Really good album. Wish I could think of the full name. So good. So good. Love that soundtrack. But this one, which is Neroli, is an underappreciated Eno album to start with. But on the double disc, the new space music is the music that he didn't use in the NASA documentary, and I think is incredible. Like, it's absolutely brilliant, because like, I love the Apollo mission music that made it onto the soundtrack. That's a great soundtrack. It's amazing. But like, this version, the new space music, which is like a 20-minute track of just background music from that, that was cut from that documentary, is so good. It's incredible. And the YouTube comment that absolutely killed me with this was, somebody was like, okay, listen to this for like 5 minutes straight and then pause it and see what happens. And then all of the comments were like, oh my God, it is the most... Apologies if you hear coughing in the background. There's sickness in my house. My lovely wife has the coughs anyway. But yeah, they said, like, pause it, listen to it 5 minutes, then pause it. You will hear the loudest silence you have ever heard in your entire life. And it's true. Like, at first you put it on and you're not even really aware that anything is happening. And then all of a sudden you are enveloped and you are in this cocoon of music that is surrounding you and uplifting you and cradling you. And then you hit the space bar and it disappears. Like, the floor disappears under your feet, and ladies and gentlemen, we are floating in space. And like, the silence is deafening. And so, like, I love doing that now. Like, getting super, super chilled out and then having these brief moments of clarity where, you know, you just hit pause and you, like, just waft in how chilled you have been. And then slide right back into it. It's kind of a transcendental experience. So, yeah. I think Transcendental Experience tops most other albums, so I feel confident putting this at number 1. Anyway, those are my top 5 chill out albums. Did I forget anything? I don't know. But yeah, let me know. I don't want to be that guy who's like, comment and subscribe and all the things. Like, you do what you feel like doing. But I would love to hear if you have things to say, because I love talking about music. If you want to tell me about your chill out albums, I'm always looking for new ones. So, like, let me know. There's good stuff out there. Anyway, ladies and gents, that'll do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.